Good morning. This is X-Pulse AI Morning Mix. Today is Monday, July 13th. We're talking about Anthropic calling out rivals for distillation, the European Union AI Act getting real enforcement power on August 2nd, and a big shift in how Nvidia wants to power data centers. Orion, you in?
I'm in. Let's do it.
Business Insider reported on July 12th that Anthropic is publicly complaining competitors are harvesting its model outputs for distillation. What exactly are they alleging, Orion?
They're saying other firms are using Anthropic's responses at scale, basically treating the model like a teacher to train or tune their own systems. The tension is, once outputs are visible through apps or the web, rivals can copy the behavior, even if they can't access the weights.
Business Insider names OpenAI and Google in the mix. Is this an IP fight or more of a platform control fight?
It's both. If AI companies argue training on public data is fair use, they weaken their stance when their own outputs get reused. Practically, it pushes vendors toward tighter usage controls, rate limits, watermarking, tougher terms, and it could reshape what open access even means for leading models.
Space Daily wrote on July 11th that the European Union AI Act gains enforcement teeth on August 2nd. What changes for model makers on that date?
The European Commission moves from guidance to enforcement, meaning fines and formal oversight. For providers deemed systemic risk, it's more than paperwork, stress testing, incident reporting, and potential commission evaluations that can include access to code and internal documents.
When they say how you trained it, what are they likely to ask for?
Think training data governance, safety mitigations, documentation of risk assessments, and evidence you can monitor and respond to harms downstream. The big shift is centralized EU scrutiny of frontier models, so compliance stops being optional theater and becomes a build requirement.
Digitimes reported on July 13th that Nvidia is pushing toward high-voltage direct current, HVDC, for AI data centers. What's Nvidia trying to solve?
Efficiency and loss. With traditional AC distribution, you keep converting power, grid to building, to rack to board, and you lose energy as heat each step. HVDC can cut conversion stages, improve efficiency, and simplify delivering massive power to dense racks.
If operators actually adopt this, what changes inside the data center?
A lot. Rack and server power supplies, safety standards, breakers, monitoring, even how you design redundancy. It also reshuffles winners among power component suppliers. Data centers are already industrial. This makes them feel even more like modern substations with a job title, Run AI.
Silicon Report, citing Bloomberg, said on July 11th that ElevenLabs is exploring a secondary tender offer, valuing it around $22 billion after reported ARR passed $500 million. First, what's the news here?
It's not a new funding round. It's a secondary sale where employees and early investors can sell shares to outside buyers. The headline is demand, a valuation near $22 billion, about double its February mark, tied to very large recurring revenue for generative voice.
For anyone who hasn't used it, what does ElevenLabs actually do in plain English?
They generate and clone voices, plus tools for dubbing, narration, and voice agents. The bigger signal is market maturity. When secondaries heat up, it often means the business is real, the buyers want exposure, and the company can delay an IPO without starving people of liquidity.
Global News reported on July 11th that Canada introduced Bill C-34 and Bill C-36, proposing a new digital regulator spanning online safety, privacy, and parts of AI. What's in these bills?
Bill C-34 focuses on digital safety, things like age-based access controls for under 16s and expanded authority over platform moderation and AI-related obligations. Bill C-36 is privacy-focused. Together, they centralize oversight in a regulator with meaningful enforcement reach.
So for global platforms, is the practical effect one more rulebook or something bigger?
Potentially bigger, because it blends safety, privacy, and algorithmic governance. That can force companies to unify compliance rather than treat it as separate checklists. The risk is scope creep. The upside is clarity, assuming the regulator defines rules that are measurable, not vibes-based.
Let's rip through a few more you'll want on your radar, starting inside companies. Economic Times Enterprise AI covered a McKinsey survey on July 11th about employee AI adoption outrunning organizational integration. What's the friction point?
People are using tools daily, summaries, coding help, analysis, while governance, measurement, and process redesign lag. So productivity becomes personal, not systemic. Companies need shared workflows, risk controls, and metrics that connect AI use to outcomes. Otherwise, it's 1,000 little wins and no durable transformation.
On regulation, Illinois moved too, Fox 2 said on July 12th, the governor signed the Artificial Intelligence Safety Measures Act. And Jefferson City News Tribune reported July 12th the Trump administration is signaling federal pushback on certain state AI laws. How messy does this get?
Pretty messy. Illinois is adding safety reviews and transparency duties for large developers, while federal agencies hint they may challenge state rules they see as ideologically tilted, yet still focus federally on areas like deepfakes and child safety. Net effect: compliance becomes a map, not a checklist.
Hardware note: Tech Times on July 11th says Furiosa AI's RNGD inference cards went live at Equinix Lisbon, first European deployment. And Digitimes on July 12th quotes ARM CEO saying AI agents will drive new CPU demand. What's the theme?
Inference is diversifying. Alternative accelerators are landing in real data centers, and agentic systems can be more distributed. Lots of orchestration, memory, and general compute alongside GPU. Translation: the one chip to rule them all era gets less certain, and infrastructure buyers get more options and more decisions.
That's XPulse AI Morning Mix from XPulse for Monday, July 13th. If this helped, share it with a friend who likes their AI news crisp. See you next time.